In 1975, one of Kodak's own engineers built the first digital camera on Earth inside Kodak's own building. Kodak's leadership looked straight at the future and decided to bury it. Stephen Sasson was a young engineer at Kodak. He built a working digital camera prototype using parts pulled from the company's own labs. The device took 23 seconds to capture and display a single black and white image at a resolution far too low to print anything usable. He brought it to leadership anyway because the concept mattered more than the image quality. A camera that needed no film at all. The reported reaction was not excitement. It was concern, because a camera that did not need film threatened the exact business that funded Kodak's entire empire. 4 years afterward, Kodak actually held key digital imaging patents and licensed them out to competitors, effectively getting paid by other companies to build the future Kodak itself refused to build. Kodak's culture and the executives who ran it had been built almost entirely around film chemistry and the retail print business for the better part of the century. Digital imaging did not fit that identity, so leadership treated the invention less like an opportunity to plan around and more like a threat to be managed quietly, which is precisely what they did for nearly 2 decades, while the rest of the industry moved on without them. Decades later, digital photography took over the world without Kodak leading it. Kodak filed for bankruptcy in 2012. This gets told as a story about missing a trend. It is really a story about the fear of missing out working in reverse. Kodak's leadership was so afraid of losing what they already had, the safety of the revenue they understood, that they froze in the face of the revenue they did not yet understand. That is a trap. Most executives think FOMO, fear of missing out, only shows up as chasing the next shiny opportunity too fast. Just as often it shows up as clinging so hard to the current model that you cannot even see yourself building the thing that will replace it, even when your own team already built it for you. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Kodak's engineers were not the ones who failed. Leadership did. And most executives watching this are more likely to be the leadership in this story than the engineer, because the fear that kills companies rarely comes from the people building the future in the lab. It comes from the people at the top who are more attached to protecting what already made them successful than to admitting the thing that made them successful might already be dying. It's like a captain who can see the iceberg clearly on radar and keeps the ship at full speed anyway, because slowing down would mean admitting the current course was wrong in front of the entire crew. So, here is a question worth asking yourself honestly this week. Is there something inside your own company right now, a product idea, a pricing model, a market shift your own team has already flagged, that you are quietly ignoring because acting on it means admitting the thing you built your reputation on is no longer enough? Most leaders have at least one Kodak moment sitting in a drawer somewhere. The only real question is whether you open that drawer yourself or wait for a competitor to open it for you. Now let's talk a bit about science. The brain weighs a loss almost twice as heavily as an equivalent gain. That is loss aversion, one of the most reliable, most studied biases in decision science. Status quo bias compounds it further. Leaders inside stable, historically successful companies show measurably slower response time to disruptive internal data because the brain treats an established revenue model similarly to an established identity. Protecting it becomes almost reflexive rather than a conscious strategic choice, which is exactly why so many leaders, capable leaders, keep defending what they have long after the market has moved on and call it discipline, instead of fear. On the trio strategy call, this is one of the first patterns we check for, where loss aversion is quietly protecting yesterday's revenue at the cost of tomorrow's, and more importantly, whether the people around you are actually incentivized to tell you the truth about it or incentivized to protect the model that currently pays them. So book a call, a free call with me. The link is somewhere here around. Be great.